Parents are meant to love us, nurture us, and guide us through life so we can lead a prosperous and happy life. Unfortunately, for one man, a second chance turned into a descent into madness and murder. Today, we explore the life of Joseph Kallinger, known as the Shoemaker. Let's open the serial killer file.
So meet Joe Kallinger, currently serving a life sentence for sex-related murder here at the State Hospital for the Criminally Insane, just outside Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Joseph Lee Brenner III was born on December 11, 1935, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to Judith and Joseph Brenner Jr. His early life was anything but stable. At just 1 year old, he was put up for adoption after his father abandoned the family, leaving his mother unable to care for him. He was adopted by Austrian immigrants, Stefan and Anna Kallinger, on October 15, 1939. Sadly, his new family didn't provide the comfort and stability he needed. They were extremely abusive, subjecting him to physical and verbal beatings for minor mistakes. He endured severe punishments, including being locked in closets, forced to kneel on rocks, starved, and whipped. At age 6, Joseph underwent surgery for a hernia. Upon returning home, his parents taunted him, suggesting that he would be rendered impotent due to the operation. Normal childhood activities were forbidden. Instead, he was forced to work in his father's shoe shop. At 8, his mother struck him with a hammer for wanting to go on a school trip. That same year, he was sexually molested at knife point by 3 older boys, but he feared punishment from his parents and kept silent. By 10, Joseph began stealing money from his parents to buy friendships, only to face painful retribution when caught. As a teenager, Joseph aspired to be a playwright, rebelling against his parents and teachers. He starred in a local production of A Christmas Carol and eventually met a girl named Hilda Bergman. Despite his parents' disapproval, he married her at 17, producing 2 children before their violent marriage ended in divorce in 1956. Kallinger remarried on April 20, 1958, and had 5 children with his second wife. He was extremely abusive towards his family, and often inflicted the same punishments on them that he had suffered from his adoptive parents. Joseph's mental state worsened over time. He committed arson several times, collecting insurance payouts. In 1959, he was hospitalized for a suicide attempt, and by 1972, he faced child abuse charges for branding his oldest daughter. Although found incompetent to stand trial, his children later recanted their allegations. Joseph Kallinger claimed to hear a voice he referred to as Charlie, which he believed was a manifestation of God. This voice commanded him to kill and directed him to engage in horrific acts, particularly against young boys. Kallinger's mental health issues, which included paranoid schizophrenia, contributed to these delusions, leading him to believe that he was on a divine mission. The voices intensified over time, pushing him deeper into a state of madness. This influence was so strong that Kallinger felt compelled to involve his son Michael in his violent fantasies. The idea of carrying out these acts together forged a bond rooted in fear and manipulation, as Joseph viewed Michael as an extension of himself and a participant in his delusions. Kallinger's crimes began with the abduction and murder of 10-year-old Jose Collazo in July 1974. He and Michael lured the boy to an abandoned factory, where they subjected him to unspeakable torture, including the severing of his genitals, before ultimately asphyxiating him. This crime marked the beginning of a disturbing pattern of violence. The most shocking aspect of Kallinger's criminal spree was the murder of his own son, Joseph Jr. After several attempts on his life, Joseph and Michael drowned him, illustrating the depths of Joseph's madness and his perception of his son as a mere tool to fulfill his violent desires.
When Kallinger's reign of terror ended, 3 were dead, including his 14-year-old son.
You murdered your own son?
Yes, I did.
Why did you do that?
He was a sacrifice. I was to murder 3 million people on planet Earth. And he was sacrificed to see if I could murder one of my own. At the end of murdering all the people on Earth, I was going to murder my own family and then take my own life and become God.
In addition to these murders, Kallinger and Michael extended their criminal activities to a series of home invasions across New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They targeted families, often binding and gagging their victims before robbing them. During one of these home invasions, they held 5 women hostage during a bridge game, robbing them of valuables while inflicting psychological terror. Their final set of crimes culminated in a brutal home invasion on January 8, 1975. In Leonia, New Jersey, they broke into the home of the DeWitt Romaine family, taking Edwina DeWitt Romaine, her 3-year-old son Robert, and her elderly grandmother hostage. After binding them, they demanded money and valuables, further escalating the violence. Kallinger brutally murdered a neighbor, Maria Fasching, by slitting her throat during the chaos.
I'm a patient person, got a good listening ear, and try to help people.
You're patient, with a good ear, and you try to help people.
Yes.
When you're not trying to murder them.
Yes.
The police investigation into the DeWitt Romaine case eventually led to the arrest of Joseph, Michael, and James. The evidence against them, including eyewitness accounts and the suspicious circumstances surrounding Joseph Jr.'s death, painted a grim picture of their violent spree.
What would you do if you got out of here?
I would probably do the same thing all over again.
What would you do?
Try to murder everyone on the planet Earth.
Once in custody, Joseph displayed erratic behavior, claiming to have lived for 1,000 years as a butterfly and insisting he was on a divine mission, which only reinforced the belief that he was suffering from severe mental illness.
What do you think of the death penalty?
I'm opposed to it.
The state has no right to take your life, but you can murder other people?
I don't think anyone has the right to take a life.
Except you?
When I'm under hallucination, I do.
These voices from God, these hallucinations, do you still experience them?
Yes, I do.
Often?
Often.
Joseph Kallinger was sentenced to life in prison, where he died of heart failure on March 26, 1996. Michael received a reduced sentence and changed his name upon release, disappearing from public view.
Joseph Kallinger, a brutal serial killer.
Do you ever feel violent?
Yes, I do.
What do you feel like doing?
Killing people.
You still feel like killing people?
Yes.
Describe the feeling that you get when you feel like killing people.
Well, last March 11th, I was hallucinating, and I took a razor blade and I cut a man's throat.
Here in the hospital?
Here in the hospital.
The tragic story of Joseph Kallinger serves as a reminder of the devastating impact of abuse and mental illness.
Do you think you'd murder me, Joe?
Yes.
That's gruesome, Joe. That's horrible.
Yes, it is.
And you don't blame me if I say I hope you never get out of this place.
I hope I never do either.
Thank you for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more true crime stories.